Hi there. Here we are. It's another week of school, another week of art, and we have some fun stuff ahead of us today. So I just want to remind you, I'm Miss Danielson, and I am the art teacher at Endeavor. So we're not at school right now, but we can learn together this way. So let's start with a repeat after me. That means I'll say it, and then you'll say it. And I would like you to say it out loud, but if that's embarrassing, I understand. You can whisper it really quietly. Or you can say it in your head. So the words don't come out of your mouth, but you can say them to yourself in your head. So repeat after me. I am an artist. I am a creator of ideas and a solver of problems. Sometimes the problems are on my paper. Sometimes they are with my neighbor, or my brother, or my sister, or my cat, or my dog. Sometimes they are inside of myself. But I know I can solve problems because mistakes are opportunities to learn and grow. And I am proud to be an artist. The more we say positive things to ourselves, the more we start to believe them. And before you know it, we are artists and we are problem solvers. So we're going to do this every single time, unless I forget. But then we'll try to do it again. All right, what's happening today? Apples. We learned about apples last time. We did. But then I saw this painting and I wanted to share it with you. I think it looks so cool. Remember, we talked about the fact that sometimes artists will take things that we know that look real, but put them in their art in ways that don't look very real. So we have a giant apple perched on top of a tree, which we know is not how apples grow. And I love that the little boy has climbed all the way to the tippy top. And then his friend is down below saying, probably, what do you think he's saying? How'd you get up there? Are you going to take a bite of that apple? How are you going to get down from there? What else do you think that little friend is saying? Who knows? All right, so hopefully you had a chance to draw an apple last week. Today, it's all about pumpkins. Pumpkins. Wait a second. Are you already learning about pumpkins with Mrs. Allen? I think you are. Wait, last week did you learn about apples with Mrs. Allen? I think you did. Are you starting to figure out that she told me what you're learning about? And that's how I know what to teach you? It's going to be fun. All right, so pumpkins. You probably know all kinds of things about pumpkins already. Whoa. But I'm going to guess you might not know about the artist who made this pumpkin painting. Look at that. What if I told you that your math assignment today was to count all of those dots? No, I will not tell you that. That's too much work. But there sure are a lot of dots. Here's another one by the same artist. This time, it's not actually a painting. So this is really in a room, and the ceiling up at the top, those are mirrors. Mirrors. Like what we look in the mirror and we brush our teeth or brush our hair. Mirrors. So it looks like there's pumpkins on the ceiling, but really there's mirrors on the ceiling and there's mirrors on the back wall. I was going to point to it, but then you can't see what I'm pointing at. So she filled a room with pumpkins. And you guys, you know what? I don't know if those are real pumpkins or if those are made out of something else like glass or wood or plastic, or if they're real pumpkins and then she painted the dots on them. I don't know. That would be a good question to find out. But I see about 50, except it looks like about 5,000 because of the way the mirrors are placed. Oh, I just realized there's mirrors on the floor too, aren't there? So if you look up in the corner and you see the words infinity room, so we know what a room is, but infinity means it goes forever. So because she put the mirrors in the room, it makes it look like it's going forever. Kind of cool, isn't it? What's next? Oh, here's the artist. She looks kind of different. She has very, very orange hair. But I'll tell you something, it's not always orange. She likes to change it. Just like she likes to change her outfit, change her art, she changes her hair also. I'm going to tell you how to say her name, but it's kind of interesting because you'll reverse it. So the way it's written is actually backwards from how we say it. When you say her name, you say Kusama first, and then Yayoi second. Kusama Yayoi. But when you write it, you reverse it. Kusama Yayoi is a very famous artist. She loves polka dots. She really loves polka dots. And she loves pumpkins. It's not the only thing that she likes to paint, but she does like to paint them and make them. This was an interesting story. Kusama began drawing pumpkins as a child in Japan, where her family owned a plant nursery that farmed, I should have looked up how to say this, kabocha squash? Kabocha squash? I'm not sure how to say that word. This picture was not her family's farm. This is one right here in Washington, in Puyallup. So I pulled this picture to show you. In fact, maybe you've been there. But I wanted you to see how pumpkins grow on the ground. They are attached to long vines, kind of like almost like ropes or string, but plants. And they're connected. They have big leaves. And then when we want to harvest the pumpkins, they clip them away from the actual plant. So you can see some that are laying here on the ground in a row. So the farm workers have already come and clipped them and then placed them in a row so that the next group, which is these guys right here, they can come by and pick them up and then put them in the back of the truck in the crates and drive the tractor back to the farm so that it's easy for them to sell them. Kind of cool. The squash, which is, gosh, I'm wondering if you know this already. Pumpkins are in the squash family. So there are many different kinds of squash. I love to eat squash. But I've never heard of the kind that her family grew. So I had to look it up. I wanted to Google it. I just forgot to figure out how to say it. This is a picture, though. So instead of like an orange pumpkin, the squash that her family grew was what color? Green. Even when it was ripe, it was green. So it's not like it's green when it's young and then it grows and becomes orange, like a pumpkin. it stays green. And you know what I noticed? The skin, the shell, kind of looks like polka dots. Do you think that's where she fell in love with polka dots? I think it could be. We're going to watch a little bit of this video. I just think it's so cool to be able to see an artist actually talk a little bit about her childhood. So when she was your age, she's going to tell us a little bit about that. She speaks in Japanese. I don't speak Japanese, but there will be words at the bottom. And I think to help all of us, I'm going to read the words, and I'll try to be loud enough that we can kind of still hear her, but that you can actually hear what I'm saying too. So I'm going to hit play. It's just going to be about 2 minutes of this video. We won't watch the whole thing. My wish was to be a painter one day. So I started painting a lot of pictures from the age of 10. My mother told me I was not allowed to paint, that one day I would have to marry someone from a rich family and become a housewife. When I was a girl, she took away all of my inks and canvases.
Making art was something that she seems to have done in opposition to her family, but she also was innately talented. And you look at the early drawings and they are completely exquisite. The challenges to become an accomplished artist in a Japanese provincial milieu must have driven this notion that at some point she would have to escape. She was on a train to stardom. She knew exactly what she wanted to do. She had a suitcase full of drawings, and she set about selling herself.
When I first arrived in New York, I went to the top of the Empire State Building. Seeing this big city, I promised myself that one day I would conquer New York and make my name in the world. With my passion for the arts and mountains of creative energy stored inside of myself.
When she first came to New York, it was...
Okay, that's where I wanted to stop. I just wanted you to see her, kind of get to know her a little bit. And now let's draw some pumpkins. How about that? All right, so I found these directions, and I got to tell you, I'm kind of old, and I've never drawn a pumpkin this way. I always kind of start with the outside shape first, and then I add the lines on the inside. But this way seems a lot easier. Now, speaking of easier, if I were you, I'd use a pencil, because then you can always erase. I want you to be able to see what I'm doing, so I'm going to use a marker, and if I make a mistake, I'm stuck with it. I can't even draw on the back because I'm using a piece of paper with another drawing on the back. So here we go. If I'm going too fast, you can always come back to this section and pause it and then draw with me later. Especially because I just realized I didn't give you time to grab a piece of paper and a pencil. Sorry, everybody. All right, here we go. So the first thing we're going to draw is a shape called an oval. Ovals are round, but they're not as perfectly round as a circle. So this oval, to me, kind of looks like a hot dog, but a little bit thicker than that. So how am I going to do this? I'm going to draw, and if you have a shape like this and you want to trace it, you could do that. I'm looking around, I don't have one, so I'm just going to draw. I'm practicing in the air first. You'll notice that my pen did not touch my paper yet. That's a trick that I use just to kind of get ready. Then when I feel like my hand knows what it's doing, I'll actually touch my pen to the paper. There it is. Is it perfect? Nope. That's okay. Pumpkins aren't perfect either. They're natural, kind of like how we looked at the apple last week. It doesn't have to be perfect. All right, next, I don't need the full oval. I just need part of it. So I'm going to start up toward the top. You know what? That was like a letter C, a giant letter C. And now I'm going to do one on the other side. Again, start at the top, curve all the way down, and bring it back to touch the middle. And woo! I could stop right now and I just have a skinnier pumpkin, but I'm going to keep on going. So I'm repeating, same steps, but now it touches this one instead of the middle one. My pumpkin is growing. I don't have a whole lot of room over here, but I can squish it in there. There we go. Oh, can you see it? There it is. I think my pumpkin got dropped on the ground. It looks a little squashed. Oh, squash. That was a funny joke, but I didn't mean to say it. Alrighty. So now we're going to add the stem. It's going to come out of the center, kind of like our apple stem last week. I think when we drew it last week, I said draw a curved number 11. So I'm going to do that again. And I want to close it up. You can close it up however you want. It could be a straight line, curved line, diagonal line, your choice. We could stop right here. But if you want to keep adding some details to your drawing, maybe you add the vine on the ground with some leaves. If you feel like it, maybe you want to add another vine. Maybe your pumpkin is smaller and you have room for more than one. I don't think we should have infinity though. Sometimes I notice that where the pumpkin was cut from the vine, sometimes the farmer leaves kind of a curly Q. Oops, can't see that. There we go. If you want to do that, you can. It's always nice to double it, so it doesn't just look like a line. It looks like something that you could grab. There we go. There's our pumpkin. Now, I bet you're kind of guessing. I don't think we're just going to color these orange. That would not be very kasama yayoi, would it? What do you think we're going to add to these? If you guessed polka dots, you're right. Polka dots. Now, I showed you this picture because I want you to know that your pumpkin is fantastic. If it's tiny, that's all right. There's actually tiny pumpkins in the real world. If it's a little oval shaped, that works. If it's more round, that works too. So your pumpkin is perfect, no matter what it looks like. Okay, here are some more of her pumpkins. Oh my goodness. Now, if you wanted to fill up the background with patterns, you can. I see the two that are in the black and kind of golden orange with the black background. Those are repeated patterns. They look like leaves, kind of like triangles also. The two photographs in the center, you can see that those are real places. So instead of a flat painting of a pumpkin, like we see the two on the very, very far edge, the ones in the center, those are more like sculptures. We talked about that last week too with the apples. So you could, if that's the case, you can draw whatever you want around them. All right, circles. Some people don't love drawing circles, but you know what? You can always just find something round, like I grabbed a lotion container, and you could just trace those circles. You put it right on the top, put your pen around the edge, and make your circles. I think I'm just going to freehand them. Mine are going to be a little bit more round, irregular, not a perfect pattern, just kind of random. When I see hers, she likes to put hers in stripes. I could do that too, I suppose. Maybe I have some polka dots that are random, and then maybe I put some up and down vertical so they're more like a pattern. You know what? It's up to you. You get to draw your polka dot pumpkin however you want. You don't even have to use a golden color. If you have time to color today and you want to use any like materials, crayons, markers, some of you love to paint. You can even do paint if that's okay with your family. She does polka dot pumpkins that are red, that are blue, that are green. As long as you have the shape and the polka dots in there, then you're still following her example. It doesn't have to be this color. Pretty cool. If you don't like the way that I just drew the pumpkin, I'm going to leave this video in the Google Slides, and then you can push that play button. I found it to be a little bit harder, but maybe you'll like it better. Maybe you'll say, you know what, Miss Danielson? We like the way this artist draws it better. That's okay. That is okay. All right, I've got some polka dots to draw today. If I finish, I'll show you next week, okay? Alrighty, have fun. Remember, you can go back and watch this video anytime, especially if I was going too fast. All right, Mrs. Allen's class, have a good rest of your day. Have fun with your polka dot pumpkin.